for your patience too. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Avini Vibes. Today is July 25th, Thursday night, and we're very, very excited. Hey, my dad, who's no longer with us on this earth, just celebrated his 109th birthday 2 days ago. So yeah, World War II veterans. So like when I looked at the date, it hit me again. I'm like, wow, that was a long time ago. Dad was in the house. So anyway, this one's for you, Dad. But we're excited tonight because Avini Vibes is here to share, educate, learn from one another, encourage one another, and learn from the experts. And tonight, I'm so excited about our guests, and I'm excited about every one of you here tonight that's joined us because we just learned that we go all the way from the West Coast to Tennessee to Utah. Boy, this is growing, and we got Florida covered and New York covered. So welcome, everyone. My name is Christine Rolando and Carol Witt. Hey, Carol's off camera, but guess what today is? Today is Carol's birthday, and Carol is
Birthday,
co-host
Carol.
here. Happy birthday,
Happy
Carol.
birthday, Carol.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh my goodness, you sound so bad.
Yeah, so Carol's got a frog in her throat and has been a little bit ill for a little bit, but she's on her way up. But that's why we're going to save her voice tonight. But she's always with us here. Okay. We couldn't do this Avini Vibes without her. So with that, Carol, have a happy birthday, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Okay. Back on camera, girl. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, happy birthday. Carol was supposed to be in Africa this week, and things got changed for her. So she's had a hard couple of weeks. So, keep her in your thoughts and your prayers, please, as she recovers. So with that said, I'm excited because Kyle Helm is in the house. And I didn't even realize why I said that about my dad, but my dad was a professional drummer too, Kyle, and I think you know that. Yeah, so I grew up in a house of drumming. He was a
That's
big
super
drummer.
cool.
Yeah, so honestly, I didn't think about preparing to say all this, but now it just dawned on me, hey, you two have something in common. So, Kyle, hey, thanks for joining us. I'm very, very grateful. I know you quite a few years now through other jaunts, whatever I'll call them, but I'm grateful for EQ, Eddie sharing. Eddie's one of your dear friends sharing this with me. You and Eddie both have been there as my support team and grateful for that. So with that, tell us a little bit about your journey, Kyle, please, and
My
share.
gosh,
Yeah,
that
maybe
is
we
that
should
is
put you in the main frame, Carol. Can we do that? Can we get him in the main frame? But Kyle,
Carol,
well,
you want to
We
make me
we
co-host? I
can.
can
Hold
help.
on. I'll put you on.
yeah, Raksha, yeah, there you go. There you go. There's our Kyle. So hey, Kyle, thanks for coming in
Here I
tonight.
am. Here I am. Well, that's a long journey, Christine. So we can take the longer version or the shorter version, but for those of you that don't know me, well, we'll get into that in a second. But thank you again for having me. And I did not know that your father was a professional drummer as well. That's amazing. That's really cool. I don't think you've ever shared that with me before, to be honest with you, Christine. So I learned something new today, and I appreciate you sharing that. And happy birthday, Carol. I'm sorry you don't feel so good, but you guys, thank you for having me, and I apologize for the little delays getting on here. I don't know what's going on. I can't connect on my computer, so we're doing this on my phone without Wi-Fi. So hopefully we're good there. But yeah, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Kyle Helm, and I'm a 39-year-old psychologically unemployable retired rock and roll drummer from Florida. That's what I like to say anyway. I know it's kind of a mouthful, but I say psychologically unemployable because I couldn't imagine having a normal like job, like a 9 to 5 type job. And I don't mean anything negative by that. It's just that I don't feel like I'm wired that way. Pretty much as long as I've been an adult, I've been professionally playing music. That's what I did for a living for years. I flew all over the world playing drums and rock and roll bands. I got to play with the incredible one and only Chuck Berry. So I'm sure some of you guys know who that is. I've played for a lot of different people, but 38 different countries to give you guys an idea. And I was on tour about 275 days a year, which it's a lot. But the other side of that is that I'm married and I have 4 beautiful daughters that I love more than anything, that more than the sun, moon, and the stars. And I just wanted to be a stay-at-home dad. I wanted to be with my kids. I didn't want to be on the road anymore. And I was tired of living out of duffel bags and saying goodnight from Skype from a different country. And I came to this point in my life where I said, I will do anything, no matter what it takes, just to be a stay-at-home dad. My wife was a stay-at-home mom. I wanted to be with my kids. And I kind of got to that point with music. And I was, very grateful that I was able to play music professionally and bring home a great income and keep my wife at home with the children and whatnot. But I was missing too much. And, I had this moment that happened. I'll never forget it to this day. I can remember every single detail, but I came home from a 3-week tour and it was just a US tour. It wasn't even that big of a deal. We went from LA to Virginia and I flew home and I'll never forget coming down the escalator at the airport. My family was at the bottom of the escalator waiting for me. And when I got to the bottom, my wife let go of my youngest daughter. My youngest daughter was standing in between her legs and she let go of her and she came running to me. And that was the moment that changed everything for me because in those 3 weeks that I was gone, I missed my daughter's first birthday and I missed all of her first steps. So she came running to me and I just realized, oh my gosh, like I missed it all. Like I missed her first birthday, I missed all of her steps, and now she's running. And it's my youngest daughter, who today is 15 years old. And I lost it. I broke down and I just said, I don't care, whatever I have to do. Like whatever I have to do to be a stay-at-home dad and never miss a thing like this again, I will do it as long as I didn't have to get a job. That was kind of the caveat, right? As long as I didn't have to go to work, and I could just be a stay-at-home dad. But in all seriousness, I was pretty much willing to do whatever I had to do. And it's funny how things work. I'm driving home from the airport that day. It was about a 2-hour drive home from that specific airport. And my dad calls me and my dad said, I signed you up in my business. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because all I've known from my dad all my entire life at this point was my dad owned and operated an auto body and paint shop. That's what he does. He's a custom auto body guy, custom painter. I used to work for him in college and in high school. That's just how I made my money. So when he says I signed you up in my business, I'm like, what are you talking about, Dad? He goes, I'll explain everything this weekend when I come down and see you. And I said, okay, all right. And I didn't ask any questions. And he came down the next day and he put this little tiny portable DVD player in front of me. And he said, watch this and don't ask any questions. I said, okay. And he pushed play on this video. It was 26 minutes and it was a slideshow presentation with a voice over the top of it that was completely monotone and completely boring. But I got it, right? I saw for the first time a network marketing presentation for a totally different company, long time ago, guys. But I got it, right? I saw the concept and I understood how it worked. And I just went, oh man, this is it. This is how I get off the road. This is how I become a stay-at-home dad. I can do this. And I didn't have to sign up because he already signed me up in this thing. And, where it kind of gets funny is a few days later, I had to leave on tour again to Germany. And I flew out and I went to Germany for a month. And I remember if you back up to the time frame here, Wi-Fi wasn't everywhere. We had to go to like internet cafes, and that's what we would do like on our off days, or we would try and go to these cafes every day just so we could like Skype home and do things like that. But I would also hop on the original social media platform of MySpace, and I sent some messages to some friends of mine on MySpace. And I couldn't tell you to this day what I said, but I told him that I was in this business and I told him that, what was happening. And when I came home from that tour a month later, I had 2 paychecks and they totaled $500. And guys, I will tell you this, when those 2 paychecks cashed, all right, I saw these checks, my friends had signed up and I took those checks down to the bank. And when those 2 checks cashed, I said, I'm in. Like, this is it. I'm going all in. I'm quitting the bands. I'm doing this full time. Let's rock and roll. And that's exactly what I did. I had $500 in my hands, and I quit the bands that I was part of at the time, and I went all in on this network marketing company that I knew literally nothing about. And that's really how my journey began. And I'd love to sit here and say that it's been just completely easy the whole time and nothing but roses and butterflies, but that would be lying, because it was hard. That first year I failed as bad as you could fail. I legitimately was losing everything. We had to sell our cars just to pay bills. We were living on donation food boxes from a place called Western Eagle. We would buy this box of food for $25. It was supposed to feed a family of 4 for a week, and there's 6 of us. It was a really, really rough time, but I never gave up on the business because I was happy. Like, that's the biggest thing. I was happy. I was happier than I had ever been in my life at that point in time because I was home. I was with my kids. I didn't care that we were broke. I didn't care that we had to sell our cars and things were, pretty crappy for lack of better words. I was home, but I believed in this business. And I remember people telling me, like, just go get a job. And I'm like, no, you're missing the point. Like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make this thing work. Yeah, because I believed in it. And what happened is I was plugging in to the weekly team call, and I would drive to the super Saturdays that I didn't have money to get to, but I made it anyway. And I went to all the trainings, and I just soaked up everything that I could and tried to learn everything that I could. But in that process, far more valuable than the information I was getting at these trainings and these calls and all this stuff was the people that I met. Because the people that I met that were doing it, right? I started to develop friendships and relationships with people that were creating incomes that most people dream about. And for me at the time, when somebody was making $5,000 a month, I was excited, right? If I could make $5,000 a month now, going from making a good income to nothing, somebody making $5,000 a month, that was exciting. That would change my life. And then I started to make friends with people that are making $15,000 and $20,000 a month, and then just bigger and bigger. And these friends of mine built my belief. And I just said, if they can do it, I can do it. There's no difference between them and me. Not at all. I can do this. And everything changed for me one day. I met an individual, and he asked me to partner up with him. He took me under his wing. It's kind of a weird thing. Like, here's this guy that's a 6-figure a month earner. Him and I had become friends over a few months. We just became kind of close and friends. And he said, I'm gonna go to a different company because the company that we're with is in trouble. And I don't like to talk about that, but it's true. Sometimes network marketing companies make bad decisions, and this company made a bad decision, and they were in trouble with the FTC, and they weren't going to be around much longer. And he knew that, right? Most people didn't know that, but he saw the writing on the wall, and he said, I'm going to leave, and I'm going to go to this other company, and I want you to come with me. And without getting into all the details and all the crazy stuff, I did, right? I went and I decided to do this, and he sat me down, and I said, I don't know how to do what you do. Like, I don't know how to develop, these teams. And I'm not one of these other people that you invited to this party also, because he invited 5 other people, and these 5 other people were all, 6-figure and 7-figure a year earners. Well, here I couldn't make $5 in network marketing. I made $500 once, but I couldn't figure it out. And I asked him, I just said, what do I do? He goes, you need to forget everything that you've learned, everything that you've been taught, and just go out and tell people why you do this. The rest will come. Everything else will come. Just go tell people why you're doing this. Go tell them your story. Tell them why you're doing this, who you are. Tell them that story and watch what happens. And I said, okay, because that's one thing, is I'm coachable. If you can teach me something, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it. And if you have something I want, and you know how to do something better, I'm going to listen. And I listened. And the very first month in that company, I went out and I made $21,000. So I can say that it's not an income claim. We're no longer with that company, but I made $21,000. And that was the beginning of the real journey of the last 13, almost 14 years of my life. And we've just been at it ever since. So I'll stop right there right now, Christine. We can take this, obviously that's just kind of the beginning and how I got started and where I came from, essentially. But we can go whatever path you'd like to go.
Well, I think the path that I would like to go, and maybe some of our listeners would like to go also. So you had the experience in good companies, bad companies, and companies that went bust, but there was something different. And now there was something different about Avini because, I think once you touch a stove and your hand gets burned, you're a little bit, apprehensive. But can you just share what you saw with the opportunity? We got some guests, we got some new people on here. What did you see with Avini? What was different? And I know you love the products, and we can, but from the business side of it too. What did you see? What was it that made you say, I'm all in with this"? Yep. Did we lose him? We lost Kyle.
Yeah, he's muted.
Oh, where
I
is
mean,
he?
I'm sorry, guys. My computer fired up, and usually I have a better angle, and I was just trying to shift over here a little bit to get out of the light.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Yeah, our
Yeah,
screen
we're
changed.
back. We're back.
Yeah.
So, and that's another pretty long story, to be honest with you, Christine, and it comes from hardship. The story of Avini and my involvement and the way that the company came to be, if you will, really boils down to a lot of frustration and love for this industry all wrapped into one, if that makes sense, right? Frustration of being around and seeing companies and owners make terrible decisions, and whether that be a compensation plan change that quite frankly the company used to they preach as like this great deal for everybody, but yet all it did was make the company more money and made all the distributors less money. Or they make ingredient changes that all of a sudden now their products don't work as well. And every time companies would do things like that, it would negatively affect the distributor force, which is terrible. And I've watched companies build up and then sell out. I mean, literally, I remember one time I was in we were in not Knott's Berry Farm, Disney World. And I remember I was on a little mini vacation with my family, and we had an incredible team going. We had this incredible thing going, and just things were amazing. And I woke up in the morning and I logged in just before we were getting ready to go to the parks for the day. And I go to log into my back office. And as soon as I logged in, it said, "Welcome to Longevity." And I went, well, that's funny, because that's not the company that I logged into. And come to find out, for the last year and a half, we built this phenomenal team. And then the owner decided to just sell the company. And so now we're all of a sudden this other company. And, you see situations like that happen. And so to get us full speed and right to where we are with Avini, a few years back, I remember having a conversation. I called up Neil Roth, who, as most of you or all of you know, is the CEO of our company. And he's been a dear friend of mine. He's been in business with me since 2011. We've built a lot of teams together, and we've had a lot of fun over the years. And this particular company that we were building teams at for 3 years, right? We were there almost 3 years. And we had brought Rik's product, his detox product, into that company. It was called something different. And we thought we had something really, really good with that. We thought we had a great thing going. And I think a lot of people felt the exact same way. Everything seemed to be lining up and we were having a lot of fun. But then the problems started happening. That owner was making some really bad decisions, that were, again, negatively affecting the distributor force and all of us, and Rik Deitsch included. There were a lot of things that were affecting him negatively. And I remember I drove out to Neil's house one day. I called him and I said, "Hey, are you home?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "Cool, I'll be there in 3 hours." And this is when I lived in California. And I drove out there and I sat down with him and Claire, and I said, "Guys, what are we going to do? We've got a problem here. Like, we've got a really big issue. What do you think?" And Neil and we've been very, very close for a long time. And that's why I went out to him. I was the master distributor of that company, and we worked really hard to build that. And I trusted Neil's counsel on this, and especially his connection with Rik. And, Rik's product was in our company. And we kind of jokingly said, "You know what?" But we weren't joking at the same time. Said, "We just need to start our own company. Like this." Neil's like, "I could run it. We could, Rik could make the product. We could all go build it." And I'll never forget that, sitting on their couch. And then we went to dinner, and I drove home. And fast forward about 6 months, that's when the beginning of Avini came along.
Thank God you drove there and had that conversation.
Yeah, I really think that was what. Well, actually, I don't think, I know that was really what put the bug in of we can do this. We can start our own company. And so you fast forward to January and that's really when everything started to come together, and everybody started meeting, and the ideas and the compensation plan and Rik and products and naming a company, and things started to fall into place, and the company began to take form. And, so your question though, I have to tell
Kyle,
that
back
piece.
up 1 second. What was that
Sure.
time frame from the conversation on the couch to January when you got
Probably about 6-7 months, somewhere right
Oh,
there.
okay.
It was 21. Yeah, it was 21, I would say probably April or May. Actually, I think it was about May. So you could actually fast forward, it would be 1 year to the company actually launched. So yeah,
Yeah.
about May of 21, and then January is when the actual formation of Avini came along, just to give you an
Wow.
idea. So because we said, you know what, we need to ride this out a couple more months and see what the heck is going to actually happen. But I think we kind of knew what needed to be done just in case, you know. So I have to tell you guys that to answer that question honestly, Christine, you know, to say, you know, what is it about Avini and the opportunity and the products and things like that, because you need to understand where we came from, you know, and really like why Avini. And because you have to realize that Neil was at a place in his life like he didn't want to start a company. Like he has no need. It's not like he financially needed to go start a company or anything. It was like, well, we love people and we love helping people and we love changing people's lives, and we can't not let Rik's products change lives. And he knows what this industry is capable of doing. I know what this industry is capable of doing, and all the people that surround us, like Marcy and Chip and Dave and Doug and just all these people, like it's our duty to continue this movement, right? We just didn't know that we are going to have to start our own company to do that.
Mm.
So, you know, you talk about the opportunity and why, and that's a very, very big thing for people to understand is, you know, I say this Avini and what we have comes from literally love of this industry and frustration from this industry, because the frustration that so many people have experienced, right, from being let down by companies or being let down by owners or being let down from not succeeding, whatever the case may be. There's a million reasons people get frustrated with network marketing, right? Because I personally believe every single person has the ability to go build a business. It just might not be the right time. And that one little thing, that one little tip, that one little trick just hasn't clicked in your head yet, right? Because it's different for everybody. But all those times when people aren't kind of where they want to be yet, or a company lets them down, creates that real frustration. And, you know, but you take the other side of it for those of us that have helped change thousands of people's lives, and you've put Rik's product into people's bodies and you've watched their lives transform forever. You know, you have a duty to continue this on. Like I could never allow somebody to not hear about what we do or continue moving forward in this amazing industry with our amazing company, because I know the impact it can have on a life in as a whole, physically and financially. And I feel like, you know, I like to joke and say that I'm a lifer. Like I'm a lifer. I'm here for life. Like what I do in helping people, I'm doing this for life, network marketing for life. And that is Avini for life. And you know, you take somebody like Neil and like Rik, for example, they're lifers too, whether they would ever say it or not. They are, right? They are lifers. And so creating Avini, right? Neil's whole mission, and you know, I'm not going to sit here and try and tell Neil's background and his story, but if there's one dude, one guy for the job to run a company like this, it's Neil, right?
Yeah.
He is just the guy. And you take him and he goes, you know what, well, we can fix it. We've been around, you know, in Neil's case, he's been around this industry for 30 years. I've been around this industry for 14, almost 15, I guess 14 years, almost 15 years. You take Rik, same thing. And you can take everybody that's involved in Avini in some way, and you take our experiences, and we know where companies have messed up. And Neil said, we're not going to do any of that. We're just going to take all that out. We're just going to take all that out, and we're going to operate a company how it should operate and watch what happens, right? If we deliver the best products that people actually need, right? Not flash in the pan stuff that's here today and gone tomorrow, or, you know, you take this magic pill and you lose 60 pounds in 15 minutes, and then what the heck do you do? Like real products that will affect and increase the longevity of your life, the quality of life like that you have, right? Your QTL, the quality time left. That's really important. You need to think about that. That's what Avini offers, right? Is we can help people increase their QTL, the quality time left, no matter whether that's 100 years or that's 10 years or 5 years, we can help increase that. And if we just deliver those products and we take away all the nonsense and we operate a company like it's supposed to be, it's a perfect storm. That's really it. So you want to talk about why the opportunity is great. It's right there. when you have the best products, when you have a company that operates on no nonsense, just this is how it is. When you have a compensation plan that just actually makes sense for people, right? A compensation plan that people can understand, that pays people more than fair. I'd say fairly, but no, it pays people more than fair. You take those, you have the winning combination of network marketing. And that's what we have. That's why this opportunity is for everybody. That's why we need to do, more and more and more to get this into people's hands, because we truthfully have the ability to change people's lives. And we knew that. Neil knew that. Doug knew that. Rik knew that. And that mission started, right? So officially, when the company launched, you look at this track record of this company that's just grown a little and a little and a little and a little over time. For over 2 years now. Over 2 years, it's been growing. Now there's over 10,000 distributors in this company. The company's doing, $1 million plus a month now. Guys, this is organic growth. Like, this is real. This isn't, some big leader came in and brought 10,000 people. Like, this is just real, steady growth of a company. And it's getting faster and faster and bigger and bigger. And fortunately, because of Neil's brain, right? Again, if there's a guy, he's the guy. We're ready for it, right? He's so far ahead of the growth that we have to keep up. Like, the problems that most companies, pretty much every company has, we don't have, right? And if there are ever little mistakes, guess what? He's like, hey, we made a mistake. We're going to fix it right now. And he tells everybody about it. There's no hiding anything. It's just transparent. And we just keep moving forward, and it keeps getting better, and it keeps getting stronger. And every single day we keep changing people's lives. And I feel like we haven't even started. Like, I really feel like we haven't even started what Avini is going to do, and we've all heard the different things. We've all heard the different sayings, and, ride the wave, and, catch the momentum, and all this other nonsense that all these other companies preach. And then they're gone in 5 minutes or 2 years. If you don't know this, the majority of network marketing companies, like 8 out of 10, fail within the first 2 years. They don't even make it to 2 years. Most fail within the first 8 months. True story. These are facts. Yeah, so you hear all these companies preach all this stuff, and we don't talk about that. We don't pitch people full of hype and nonsense here. But the thing is, I will tell you this: in my career of network marketing, and we've been at the top, we've been at the bottom, we've been everywhere in between. I've heard it, and we've had so much fun, but I've never felt it. Right? It was never a matter of if we were going to leave a company, it was when, right? And it wasn't because we wanted to go. It was because, what is this company going to do to screw it up, right? And I say that because for the very first time in my network marketing career, and I know there's other people that will say the exact same thing, finally you can feel it. This is it. This is where we go forever. We will build Avini 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. Avini is not going anywhere, right? I can sit here and confidently say that I believe that Avini will be one of the top 10 companies in the world. I really do. Why? Because it's a company that is built on substance, not on hype, right? It's a company that's doing every single thing right in every way that you can imagine. It's a company that's 10 steps ahead of the game always. And guys, we haven't even gotten started, but yet we have a track record that looks like we've been in business for 10 years. And so I can honestly sit here and say, for the very first time in almost 14 years of doing this full time, I can feel the wave. Like, I feel that we are here for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I feel and know that in 20 years from now, my kids can take over my business, right? That it will be a real legacy that will be left. Like, that's, to me, why Avini. That, to me, is the opportunity. That, to me, is why, if anybody's looking anywhere else, like, they're crazy. Like, you're crazy. You know what? Just sit back and watch us then, because you're going to see some incredible things every single day. Just keep happening. So there you go, Christine. That's why the opportunity.
Well, I'm reading some of the things in the chat, and it's passion, quality, and integrity, Suzanne, right? And if you've been there, you know it. Like, you know it. I have been involved with other companies too through my years, and I built a huge organization in one of them, and it blew up. Same thing years ago. But you said the nail on the head, you hit the nail on the head, this is it. And I feel like we're so fortunate to have this opportunity because it doesn't, all the stars don't align the way they aligned with what's happening here with the best
That's right.
product in the world, the change, 1,500 testimonials. I mean, I heard 3 today that are so real testimonials that for sure change these people's lives. So we
Yeah.
are very, very grateful. And Kyle, so now somebody's on this call listening tonight and they don't have the belief level you have, but I know
Yeah.
tonight you raise their belief level because they see your passion. They know that look, they're clapping their hands. They know that you're right there on the front line with Neil. You've been there from the beginning. So thank you for, adding to our buckets or the belief levels of the people on here tonight. It's important that we
Absolutely.
share with everybody. You're not afraid to share with everybody that you come in contact with, are you? You talk to everybody.
No, everybody, I have no problem telling anybody about what we have because you know what? Avini is a company, guys, that we can be proud of. Like, there's nothing to be embarrassed of or ashamed of. So many times people shy away from network marketing or they're in one of them things or whatever, and it's like, why would you with Avini? Like, there's nothing to ever be ashamed of or shy about. Just tell people about it. Just tell it. Why won't you tell somebody about it? There's no reason not to.
Well,
And if they don't believe you, fine.
you always said, just tell your story, right?
Just tell your
You
story.
said that tonight. Just tell your story.
Just tell your story. That's all you got to do.
Tell your story and tell it from your heart and tell it with the truth of why you saw, right? What you
Well,
saw. Because that each
that's
of our
it. And
stories are different.
yeah, exactly. And if I could give everybody that little tip on sharing your story, because every time we talk about that, people will say, well, I don't have a story yet or this or that. And I've done, I can't even tell you 1,000 trainings on this, but to tell your story, guys, just tell people how you got here, what got you excited, and why you said yes. Think about that. How you got here, what got you excited, and why you said yes. If you can tell people those 3 things, you're going to tell them all about Avini. You're going to tell them everything that they need to know about Avini, I promise you. And then, you know what? They might be able to relate to why you're doing this as well. And that's the best way, in my opinion, to go out there and share this naturally, right? Because I think that's a big hang up for people is sometimes they get into the sales pitchy type stuff, and we live in a world where nobody wants to be sold and pitched. That's just the truth. You see a telemarketer coming in, you're probably not going to answer it because they're going to try and sell you something. And you know what? People kind of have that same block with each other. So if you can figure out how to just have a conversation with somebody, right? And the easiest way is to have a natural conversation, sharing your story. And it's easy to just say, so Christine, my friend Ed called me the other day. You'd never believe this. And so now I just told you how I got here, right? My buddy Ed called me and he's telling me all of it, and then he started to talk about this cell defender stuff and this product called Hydrate. And I don't know, then he gave me something to try. Well, now I'm telling you why I got excited. And then I thought about it, Christine, and the more he kept telling me about the cell defender, I realized, I've got some issues going on. And, the fact that he made $1,000 last month, or hey, I think I could do that too. I could use that little extra money. Now I'm telling people why I said yes. And all of a sudden, Christine's going, well, cell defender stuff sounds kind of interesting. Well, I could use an extra $1,000 a month or whatever the case is. It starts to naturally happen that way if you can keep it as a natural conversation like that. So those 3 things I have found to be super effective. So go out there and share them with people.
So Kyle, how many people have you talked to? Not a real number, but have you talked to someone and they said no today, but down the road, what may happen with that person?
Oh, I had 3 people tell me no today. That it would, yeah. Actually, they didn't say no. They just said it's not the right time. Essentially, I don't know. Let me think about it. I got a lot going on. I had those type of conversations, but I can promise you that over time they'll be part of us. There's no doubt in my mind, absolutely no doubt in my mind that they will be part of them. Especially because I actually sent 2 of them some of our Plus Energy because they're pretty big in the energy drink thing. So I sent them out a couple, dropped them in the mail. They're going to get those. They're going to have those and they're going to say, all right, I need some. It'll happen.
All right, so you shared some samples with them. Good job. I
Well,
did that
I'm
today,
mailing
too.
samples because they're not local to me. So I'm like, you got to try this stuff. Trust me. And
Yes, yes.
I shipped them each out too. That's enough to get them a little started.
So let's talk about this for a minute, and then I want to open it up if anybody has a question or a comment.
Sure.
But what's important, I see that I'm not sure if we have any guests. I see a lot of distributors here tonight, but auto ship is such an important thing. I love auto ship, and I always tell people use the auto ship. Why is it important? And I get these points. So what I do is use my points for, like you just said, I met an MMA wrestler. So I
Yeah.
used my points and I gave him some of that to try. My MMA
Yeah.
wrestling going in the ring with Avini. Yes.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So why is auto ship important?
Yeah.
I mean, anybody in their right mind, if you are on these products, you need to get them every month. So you might as well put them on auto ship. Let's just be direct here. But no, truthfully, auto ship for your own personal business, I think is extremely important, because if you start to understand the concept of it, it will help you understand where your business is very early in the month. Right? We want people qualified so they never miss out on a paycheck, right? There's 5 ways you get paid in our compensation plan if you don't know that already. And the most exciting ways that you get paid, you've got to have a monthly order, right? There's a minimum order that you have to have every month, whether it's on auto ship or not is it doesn't matter, but you might as well make sure you're on auto ship so you never actually miss a paycheck. I've seen people miss paychecks because they forgot to place an order for the month, which is kind of unfortunate. And I've seen some significant paychecks be lost in the wind because people didn't have a monthly order in. So aside from that, and that's probably a really big reason if you're wanting to build a business. 2, it'll help you and your team, right, establish a know of what's happening, right? Like you will understand what's going on in your business, because by the 11th of the month, the last day that auto ships go, you can look at your organization and say, okay, well, I have X amount in volume. My destination for this month is to become this rank. Well, now I know exactly what I need to go do, right? In order to achieve that, because you'll have a lot of volume already started in your organizations, and this passes along throughout your teams. Because I will tell you guys, it's a really good feeling. It's a very, very, very incredible feeling that, the first, second, third, fourth, maybe fifth of the month, auto ships have gone out and you've already qualified at your highest rank, and you haven't even got started really building your business yet, right? Only maybe a couple sales have come in or a few new enrollments, and you haven't really got started, but yet you're already qualified at your rank already, right? That's your residual income coming in, guys. So if we can get or ensure that our teams are getting on auto ship, it helps create real passive long-term residual income. It helps you understand and gauge your numbers for your monthly business. Now, aside from not missing your own personal paycheck, Christine mentioned the points. And guys, that is probably the best incentive ever. Just by placing the monthly order you're gonna place anyway for the products you're already gonna buy, you're rewarded for doing so. So you get 20% back in points, rewards points. So if you place $100 order, for example, right, you get 20 points back. Think about that. You can use the same as cash, if that makes sense. So if a product is $55 or 55 points and you have 55 points, you can just click use your points, and all you have to do is pay for the shipping and the product's shipped right to you. So it's free product for you. Or like Christine was saying, and what I do with my points is I use those points to send people product sometimes, whether it's maybe an incentive. I've done this before. I said, hey, you know what? If you go out and enroll a new person tonight, you're going to hit your new rank. But if you enroll one new person, I'm going to send you any product that you want. What do you want? And then they enroll somebody, and then I'll send them a new product. They wanted to try. Actually, I won't mention. She's like, I want to really try the chocolate. I haven't tried the chocolate yet. I said, go enroll somebody. You're going to hit your rank. You're going to get a promotion. I'm going to send you chocolate. Boom. It didn't cost me anything. It cost me shipping. $13. No big deal. So there's a lot of great reasons to be on auto ship, obviously. And guys, let's talk about the real backside of this for the company. It helps the company see where we're growing and how we're growing. It helps them forecast how much product is going to be needed in the upcoming weeks. So if we're going to be placing these orders anyway, put them on auto ship. It helps the company. It helps you. It rewards you, and it helps your teams, right? It helps your teams become stable. So hopefully that makes sense.
All right, it does. And stability is important, and you're right. That's why
Yes.
we do that. All right, there's a question in the chat. I just
Sure.
received this message from my friend. She's a friend and it's a doctor. To be transparently honest. I'm not wanting to engage in any multi-level companies. That has gone that I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. That has not gone well for me in the past, and I'm decided not to revisit that area of business. Kyle, what do you suggest I do? Four-letter word? Four-letter word.
A four-letter word, huh?
No,
Yeah,
what's your response?
you know, that is a tough one. What do you suggest I do? I mean, it's personally what I would do
And I
if I was
wasn't
speaking.
cursing, by the way. I want you to be clear. It was next. I was NEXT.
Well, yeah, I figured that, but no, I wouldn't. I mean, yes, you can do next. I think next is a big deal, but
It's
I
her
always like to
friend.
ask people. I always like to ask people. So, well, like if it was you, Christine, I would say, well, Christine, so why didn't it go well for you in the past? Like, what happened? Just curious. I don't care if you do Avini with me or not, or you don't want to try the products. I understand. I get it, but what is it for my own knowledge so I can understand what to look for? What tell me what was that problem? And then they tell me most of the time, oh, it was this. I go, oh, well, we don't actually do that, or we don't have that, or we fix that at Avini. You're like, I have no problem asking you, well, what didn't go right? Like, what happened? I love when people say, well, I got screwed in the industry. Well, how? Well, I spent all this money getting started and, I didn't make any money. I go, okay. So you spent how much did it cost you to get started? Well, it was $500. Did you get product? Yeah. Did you use them? Yeah. But you didn't make any money? No. So how'd you get screwed? You bought $500 in product and you got great products that you put into your body just because you didn't make any money, right? Did you try? That's on you. Nothing actually happened to you. I try and open people's minds to the objections that they have against our industry or maybe our company. And it's never about our company. It's about the industry as a whole, right? So the doctor friend saying, hey, it didn't go well for me in the past. I'd like to not engage or get back involved. I would say, well, why? Like, what happened? And just ask some questions because remember, we have two ears and one mouth. So just listen, hear what they have to say, hear their objections. And maybe you can identify that whatever it is that they have objections towards with us, that we have the answer, the solution to that. Maybe it's an old thing that, we don't do anymore, or that doesn't exist in the industry, or maybe it's a compensation plan thing that doesn't exist. I don't know, but pay attention to whatever their response is, and maybe you can find the solution. Or like Christine said, next.
Well, that's a really good answer. The way I think your answer is super because like you said, you don't know. And maybe it's the fact that, since Doug has put out that presentation with for doctors and acupuncturists and all that, as we go through, I've put it to the test and have gone to those
Yeah.
people and started to talk to them. And the
Yeah.
objection that I found when I first started with Avini was, I don't have the time to be selling product in my office. But now that solves the problem because I just signed up a doctor and I
Yeah.
trained her staff. So her staff is doing it, and that's so that objection. I don't know if this is the same objection, but Kyle, thank you for that question. That was a great question.
It's a great question.
Questions? Any
And
other questions? I'm just reading the chat. Anybody want to raise? Eddie, you want to raise? You got your hand up. Go ahead and unmute.
So, hey, Kyle, thanks for everything, buddy. I want to piggyback on one thing you said earlier about like where we are. When Christine and I and Alan, after Kyle got a hold of me, we were like 1,800, 1,500, people in, right? Now we're at 10,000, right? But the coolest part is 2 months ago, I went down to Boca to spend time with my better half, Roxana Williams. Some of you guys know her. I think you know Roxy. And so we went toward the headquarters. And the coolest thing about it is we went from, Kyle, correct me on the time frame, from Plantation, Florida, 6,000 square feet to Boca, 18,000, three times bigger, right? In what, January? I think we were settled in there. And when we were touring the lab, this guy took us for a very specific tour of the entire headquarters, everything. Rik was in Atlanta, Georgia at a wedding, but he wasn't there, so didn't get a chance to see him. But Rik and Roxy and Rik's wife, they're very good friends. They're very tight. So we toured the whole lab. And at the end, I said to the guy giving us the tour, I said, wow, I said, this is huge. He said, we are busting at the seams. we're gonna need a bigger place fast. I said, what? He said, yeah. He said, we're outgrowing it right now. And so I was like, wow, it just, but when you see the processes work and everything just works like a Swiss watch. And the cool part, as a side note, I'm flying out in the morning back to Boca to spend time with Roxy. And hey, Colin, guys, Rik and Liz, Rik and his wife, we're having lunch Sunday. So we're all gonna have lunch together. So I get a chance to have lunch with the best biochemist on the face of the planet. That's pretty cool.
I
Really
love this.
Well,
This
what's
makes
even
me,
cool,
this makes
what's
me
even
so happy.
What's even cooler is that Kyle, Eddie, Joe, we were on the SEAL team together, and Roxy and EQ didn't even know each other until SEAL team Avini. So you never know what's going to happen at Avini.
That's right. That's right. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Ed. That's super awesome.
Love
Oh
is
my
in the
gosh.
air, it looks like.
But I
And
will tell you, Ed, if you ever shared the square footage of our facility again in Rik's presence, you better get it right, or he's going to get upset with you.
Yeah. What is it exactly, bro?
18,504.
18,504.
18,504.
he said that
Got
at the
it.
conference. He corrected them.
I got it.
You guys, I'm really excited on that note, real quick, with our facility and where they manufacture the product. It's so incredible. I mean, Ed's
Yeah.
seen it now. I saw it when it was an empty shell, which was kind of crazy, right? I went and toured the place before it was anything, and to see where it's come is phenomenal. But I was on a meeting earlier today with some of the corporate people, and Michael should have the thing soon to be able to sign up for the tours for the Boca. Why is my mind? I'm like,
Regional.
November.
yes, for November, for Boca in November. Pretty soon you'll be able to sign up because they are going to do tours, but it has to be in small groups while the event's actually taking place. So you'll be able to actually get started, like signed up on a tour for, the Boca event if you're going to be there. So pay attention. I'm sure they'll send out an email as soon as that's done. But I know that's in the works. So pay attention. I know he worked on it all day today. So you'll be able to sign up for tours.
All right, so we're almost out of time, but we could take one last question. If anybody has a question or a comment, Chip, you want to jump in? And today's Carol's birthday. For those of you who don't know, Carol Witt is with us, and happy birthday, Carol. Go ahead, Chip.
Thank you, Christine. And Amy had her hand up.
Oh, okay. Amy?
Oh, yeah, sure. So, Kyle, I had a question. You said, oh, those three things, remember. So I wanted you to remind us all of those three things. And then I wanted to also share a comment. So what would you like to remind me first of those three things? Okay.
Sure. It's how you got here,
Mm-hmm.
what got you excited, and why you said yes.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. And then, so I just wanted to share that I work full time, maybe not for long, maybe in 6 months, things look like they're going to be changing for me. And when I'm working, I'm a ComHab worker, and I sit in the cafeteria because my girl that I work with does dishes in the next room over, which is fine. And I do a craft. I make cranes. And while I'm making cranes, people come up to me and I talk about Avini, and it's just like I'm sitting there. So it's like, and I will do those three things now, but sometimes it's just easy. Sometimes you have to like make it easy. And so like these are the cranes that I make. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
And then I'll give them away. And I got someone just ordered Plus Relief last night because of me making cranes in the cafeteria. And the woman, and this is a woman that referred to someone she hasn't even ordered yet, but she wants to order it. And then she sent somebody in behind her. She goes, to go talk to that woman making the cranes in the cafeteria.
I love it.
Yeah. So sometimes it's, it's different for everybody, but I talk to everyone in the community. I talk to everyone. So just wanted to share that. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Amy.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Christine, can I say something real quick before you hand it to Chip?
Sure, Pat.
Kyle's obviously exuberance and passion and things, and talking about the company got me to thinking, where is an owner who's also our bioscientist, who takes the time and the care that when we say something about, well, this product's not just what we're expecting, he said, okay, I'll fix that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just right on top of stuff all the time. And I mean, who has access to the owner and bioscientist of a company where you can say, hey, I think we need to do something else, and he goes, oh, okay, I'll have it done. It's just awesome.
It is. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Like when the energy drinks, remember the first batch of energy drinks, right? Now
Yeah.
they're amazing. Or even the little dog and cat things. They want to hear from the field. That's the one thing about this company I love about it. I text Neil on Sunday, God bless him, and said, can I talk to you? And I figured Monday, and he called me right back in 2 minutes, not even 30 seconds. I said, hey Neil, sorry to bother you on a Sunday. He said, what's up? What can I do? He says, I'm just so having to be sitting here on a Sunday doing nothing. I said, I doubt it. But like, how awesome is that? So we are blessed to have a company like that. All right, Chip, it's your turn. Where is he? I lost him. There he is.
I'm here. And you know how much I'd love to talk right now, but somebody jumped right out of the screen at me with a comment, and she said, this is Dr. Cadolio. She said, I'm a doctor. Don't say next.
Oh yes, I was just kidding.
that jumped out at me.
I am
Say
not
something.
a doctor,
Oh,
but I was trying to. I want to clarify that. But as a doctor, I think that would be an opportunity where you could be like, well, you having all of this knowledge and experience as a doctor, would you mind like just taking a look at this and telling me what you think? As a doctor friend of mine, your friends are going to be in interest of taking care of you too, and making sure that you're making the right decisions for yourself. So I think in positions like that, where you are speaking to someone with a little bit of clinical knowledge, and especially with having the asset of having the actual biochemist that developed this stuff like at your fingertips, that's something where it could be a big thing, where she could be like, yeah, I'm seeing this pyramid scheme thing, and I'm not really buying it. It could be like, well, I see what you're saying, but I'm thinking maybe you should just try it. You should just look at it. What's the harm in having this in your hand right now and doing a little bit of investigating? There are so many resources as far as like testimonials and all that stuff on the Avini planning or the training website. But I think, to me, like a lot of times you have to see, I've been telling people how it helps me and giving them my testimony. But then I have like my stepdad's testimony, and I have like, but my biggest thing is like, I'm a nerd. So I'm going to be selling this research and being like, they broke down this silver component to a molecular level where the cells can actually accept it and use it more accessibly. And like, so you can use all of those tools and take anything at your disposal if you familiarize yourself with that knowledge and product. Then it doesn't even feel like selling anymore. Now you're not even marketing. You're just being a human being, doing what you do, and you're sharing the love of something that you truly want to help somebody with.
Yes.
But in that doctor position, I would say, like, I see what you're saying, but I'm going to come by and see you. Let's have coffee. I'm going to drop some by, run a lab on it, see what you think. Because she's that lady can put the proof in the pudding, like, honestly. So
Well,
That's right.
well said. And I was teasing with next because I love the fact that I talked to my husband's surgeon about it, and at first he was very, very busy, but he got his attention, and you said it very well, like, we have so many resources. So if I don't have the answer, I can defer to the resources that we have. And that's exactly what we all need to do, is just share those resources. All right, Chip, where are you? Oh, Alan has a hand up too. So Chip, do you want to close us out tonight? And we'll let Alan go before you. How's that? Is that good with you?
perfect. Yep, I'm ready. That's
All
perfect.
right, Alan,
Go,
you
Alan, go.
go ahead. You're the last question.
Here's what I have on my screen. I don't know if you can see that.
No.
Okay. This guy is a professional boxer. I sent him some Plus Relief, and he's a boxing coach as well. And he sent me a video. It's a great commercial for Plus Relief. And if you like, once we're done, you can stop the video, and I will play this for you if you want to hear it. It's really good.
Yeah, we do. We want to hear it.
Absolutely.
All right, so
Maybe
we'll
we
just
want it
say
on.
we want to stop the recording, or you want to play it now?
After Chip has done his thing, I'll play it for all of you. How about that?
Okay, great.
Did
Thank
you
you,
stop the
Alan.
recording and then I'll play it?
Okay.
All right. Well, just real quickly, you know, I know Dr. Cadolio isn't a doctor, but she was jumping out of the screen at me, and I had to know something more about her. Thank you so much for speaking, and I still want to know more about, you know, where you came from, and I love the nerd thing. That's a great spot to start from. I wanted to, of course, say just a little bit about Kyle. I heard something tonight that I hadn't heard from him before, and I know he says it every time. You know, I'd hear but probably because the tears, I blubbered after the little girl comes running to him in the airport, and I missed the next three things he says. But he said, I go to all the calls and all the events, and I knew that. I knew that about him. But the thing that jumped out at me tonight, and it's obvious when he says it, it was the people that I met there that was the key to my entire career.
Yep.
That just, I mean, it just jumped at me. You know, you're here tonight. You know, you go to the events. That just, you know, I've heard him talk a lot of times, and I heard that. I wanted to just say a quick little thing. That the drummer, you know, is the guy that kind of sets the pace of the song and builds it up to its crescendo, right? And Kyle, business-wise and network marketing, is one of the most gifted people I've ever come across in my life to see that. And one of the terms that he used when he was talking about AutoShip was the AutoShip helps the company forecast the needs they're going to have to provide products for the rest of the month and the coming months. Who thinks like that? Who sees this piece of information and it forecasts the future? That's a gift that he has in a way that very few people do. And I just, it marvels me every time I hear him, and I pick it up in those little bits of language. You know, the AutoShip helps to forecast what the needs are going to be. If you look at it, it'll forecast where you should be working during the month.
Mm-hmm.
It's a forecast for you just as well as the big company at your level. It's a forecast too. It gives you great hints. So better go back to Alan. This thing isn't going to stop. I mean, we could keep talking for, well, we will for the next 30 years. But Alan,
right.
let's see what you got,
So,
buddy.
Thank you, Chip.
Yeah,
thank you, Chip.
So Christine, do you want me to stop recording?
Yeah, let me go ahead and close this, and then we can all stay on. All right. So
Okay.
anyway, thank you everybody for being with us again. Happy birthday, Carol Witt, and we look forward to having you back. Thank you, Kyle. Thank each and every one of you for being here. And let's all go out and take that passion that Kyle has, and I know each one of you have in your heart, and let's bring it forth to the people that are praying and needing what Avini has to offer. So have a blessed night. We'll see you next week.